Good morning, everyone. So it's January the 10th, and while the weather people said we got to 36, I had a nice little coating of ice out on the bird bath. So like I made a video one time before about my funny water, it freezes faster than other water. It might be the answer to global warming. And anyway, I thought I would do a video this morning on the plants that I have been selling, and I'm doing 3 plants for $100, and that includes the shipping and everything else. And I've had no problems with any plants freezing or anything else, because I'm using these warmers. I have both a 60 and a 72 hours, and I've been putting 2 in most boxes, and even some that went to California, because I figured it might need it going across the Rockies and everything, that the higher elevations might be cold enough. But I put these flaps to the side here, and then I slide the warmers up under it, because you're supposed to give it room to breathe. They have to have airflow, and so that way the Ziploc bags that I put the plants in don't cover them and stop them from working. The plants, whenever I ship, I had originally started off with a piece of paper towel, and I'd put rubber bands to hold it in, and I had a few that got dumped out. So I've gone back now. I just take a paper towel and fold it into quarters and slit it, and then tape the hell out of it all around. I've had some people make comments about they thought I did a bit of overkill on it, but I would rather go with a little more than have any of them get damaged. But I had been doing the 2 of these that are up around 2 foot tall, and then one of the smaller ones, and that I can fit those in the box without too much difficulty. And like I said, this is just a large flat rate box, and the little flaps and the heaters and all that, that's something like $25 or so just in the shipping. And like I said, the $100 covers all of that, and my time and gas to take it to the post office and whatever. And it's still just post office money order or cash, and looking me up on Messenger to get with me and all that. And I've had some people ask about the plants whenever potting them up, and so that was one of the other things this morning was you don't increase the size of the pot a great deal all at once, because then you can develop other problems, root rot and what have you. But I had already loosened this one up where I can take him out of the pot, and you can kind of see had roots already coming out the bottom of the pot, and that's why I went ahead and pre-loosened it. And the way I do is the plants are, some of them are bent over, and part of that is whenever I was rooting last summer, if you watch some of the older videos, I had them shoved up under the bigger plants for shade to keep them from getting sunburnt and all, being fresh rooted and fresh out of rooting boxes and all that. And so some of them kind of got bent over and going for the sun. They weren't intentionally bent, it's just the way it worked out. When I first started and didn't have a lot of them, I would rotate them, move them around so that they didn't get bent just in one direction. But as it turned out later on, whenever I had so many, it became really a big job for me to try to move them around. But the way I do them is stand them up in the pot as best I can and straighten them up with the potting soil. So that they are straightened out. There's some of these, like back up under there, that if it gets too far into the spring, that's another reason I don't fertilize them all, because I really don't want them running up right now. And with low light, which at the lowest, back on December the 21st, the shortest day, the winter solstice and all, I was still around 10.5 hours of daylight. And so they get pretty good light in here. And so anyway, that was just the way I do them. Loosen it and get it out of the pot, and then I stand it up as best I can. And even later, whenever it goes into the next size pot, the next one I would do would be a 3-gallon pot. And part of that is just because I have a bunch of 3-gallon pots from whenever I was rooting fig trees with my daughter. And so that's the turmeric. I'm fixing to work the next few days on taking out some more turmeric. But you can see a lot of these plants, that one's getting up to about 2.5 foot tall, and limbs all the way down at the bottom. It would be really hard to bend it around, but that's whenever I put them in the bag or in the box here. I have some big, I don't remember if they're 2-gallon or 2.5-gallon Ziploc bags that I put them in, and then I bend the plants around, and I put the pot up against here so the warmers stay under the covers. On the warmers, it talks about wadding up newspaper, and I've done that once or twice, but for most of it, and from what people receive plants and all, said that they are still warm in the box. And the coldest one I know of right now was the prize winner from one of the giveaways. I believe it was her. I'm not sure. I get mixed up anyway. But lady up in New Hampshire, the temperature had got down to 21, and I just knew that plant was going to be screwed up. But it wasn't, and she's very happy with it and pleased. And so that's the way things are right now. I believe I can ship anywhere without any problems with the warmers. And if it was somewhere going further up north, I would probably not use the 60 hour. I'd use 2 of the 72s. And with the pot being right up against it, as long as the root's protected, it's going to come back and keep growing. I hope that's informative to some folks, and feel free to contact me on Messenger if you're interested in some plants, and we'll talk. Have a blessed day, all.